You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
There was an idea. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
This is the Marvel Tribe, brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Marvel Tribe. Tonight, you are joined by Sam and Lou Knight. We are brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.com. Tonight, we are going to talk about all of the Easter eggs and clues and confirmations that we've gotten from episode 4 and episode 5 of Secret Invasion. How are you tonight, Lou?
I am doing real good. I just got done watching the newest episode for the first time, maybe an hour and a half ago. So I am thirsty for the season finale, but at the same time, I know we still have a week to go.
I'm kind of nervous for the season finale.
I am as well.
Honest. I was hoping for a slow burn, and I feel like we're getting rushed, which we said has been an issue for these 6-episode series. So yeah. The fourth one, it was good. You kind of seen it. You saw stuff that was coming, and I know we're gonna get into that, but you saw stuff coming. But at the same time, it didn't lead off to nowhere. And then episode 5, I felt was just a lot of the same stuff we've already known. There was some stuff that we did find out that was cool, but for the most part, episode 5 didn't really give me a whole lot, which makes me nervous for episode 6, unless 6 is gonna give us a solid cliffhanger that leads us either into a movie or potentially a season 2. I do not want a season 2.
Where it's at right now, I would like a season 2 with the way how slow it's going. But if episode 6 really blows up and leads off into a movie, then I'm okay letting this show just end where it's at. I have a feeling that we're going to see a tie-in to Brave New World, Captain America 4.
I mean, there is a very good chance that that's going to happen because with the Super Skrull serum now being a thing, so Super Soldier serum, is a good connection to make there. But is that did you have another connection of why you think it's going to lead to Brave New World?
I think, well, one, between the serum, the president, Skrulls, I feel like right now you can almost tie in what villain is going to be there. Right now we have Kang being the Thanos of this wave.
A big bad, yeah.
Yeah, so with the Skrulls, I mean, I feel like the way they're setting up right now, and especially these last 2 episodes, the way Gravik has kind of, I don't want to say has gotten better. I feel like if anything, I feel like as a villain, he's almost became a little bit less. And you saw that when the other Skrulls called him out on his shit, and he had a temper tantrum and got mad.
He's absolutely unhinged, and this is exactly why he should not be the general, and why he never would have been a candidate for the Super Soldier Serum.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's just completely unhinged. He is a teenager, essentially, who didn't get his way and is waging war on everyone, destruction on everyone, even his own people, because he has daddy issues, essentially.
Yeah, and I think that just has the blueprint for being a solid antagonist for Captain America 4, because I don't believe Falcon now being Captain America, I could be wrong, but I don't think there is intent for that to become a trilogy. So if that's going to be, I feel like we're going to see Sam Wilson as Captain America a lot, but not in standalone films. I think we're going to get a lot of cameos with him. So if Captain America 4 is just kind of the installment of Anthony Mackie as
a new Avenger.
A new Avenger, yeah. I feel like,
I mean, he's not already, but just as his new role in the Avengers.
Yeah, I think Gravik is a solid way to, you give him another part to grow some more. You drop the Super Skrull, you drop all that. I think that movie gives enough weight, and they're going that way with the president.
Can you drop this? Can you drop the Super Skrull? He's already a Super Skrull.
I don't think you would drop it, but you can really just give it a full story, because right now we're getting it, but we're not getting it. And if you're not a comic book goer, then you're trying to understand this. And with one episode left, I don't think you're going to understand it enough, but you can get enough to tease you to then want you to go see Brave New World with that. And with them changing the name Brave New World, and you're seeing the Skrulls trying to adapt and become a uniform civilization with humans, I feel like Brave New World, the way they changed that, it just makes sense versus New World Order.
Yep. Brave New World actually hints towards a collaborative effort, whereas a New World Order hints to a takeover. So we know that Talos, rest in peace to the real one, that's what he wanted. He wanted, and Gaia ultimately too, she doesn't want to kill humans. She doesn't want to kill Skrulls. She wants everybody to be able to live in their own skin together. So speaking of Super Skrulls, we start off episode 4 with seeing Gaia regenerating herself, coming back. She is not dead. So that was one thing that we had hinted towards in our last recording of Marvel Tribe that did come to fruition. She is a Super Skrull, which also means that they are aware that there are Super Skrulls, because she told Talos, and, Nick Fury now knows that there are Super Skrulls. And the best part about that is, who does not know that there's another Super Skrull?
Gravik.
Gravik doesn't know there's another Super Skrull.
Nope.
So he thinks he's unmatched right now. So I am excited to see a battle of Super Skrull v Super Skrull. I do hope that we get that in episode 6.
I hope we get that, and I'm hoping that she has different abilities, where almost like, for instance, Fantastic Four, even though we know what their abilities come, you really don't know what's going to unlock in them. So I hope that by her having the Super Skrull serum now, as she understands, like, she's not sure what she's going to get, and it's almost like an Incredibles Jack, where you're going to see other similar, and we might see some nods to Fantastic Four, but then we may not. I mean, I'm hoping that we see some type of nods like that, because they're coming. We know when. It's just a matter of who and how they're doing it.
And we need to see them slowly starting to trickle in, because if they're just introduced in one end credit scene and not slowly fed to us, that is a disservice, because they can be feeding us those Easter eggs the entire time and really sell it to us that way. That's something that we've been talking about in our Discord chat, is how Marvel has the Marvel and Star Wars fans, they sell the marketing. Disney doesn't need to spend that much money on marketing. They do, but they don't need to spend the marketing on Marvel and Star Wars, because guess what? Feed us the right little bites in your series and in your movies, and we're going to market it for you. Whereas we've said in other media, that's not the case. So they just can start spoon feeding us these little teeny bites, and we are going to take off like we did with WandaVision.
Yep, spoon feed us the little bites, but for end credits, going back to that real quick, I think end credits though have to go back to what they used to do, where you would just see, like, some of my one of my most favorite ones is the end credit with Fury and Maria Hill, where you see them, they turn to dust, and it's like, oh man, what happened? You know what happened, but what were they doing? Where the end credits would lead us into something new. The only problem with end credits lately, they've either been too comical, where they're just doing something to throw another pun out there, or
which that only needs to be done for Loki.
Yeah.
The only place where that works is with Loki.
Yeah, and then some of the end credits they throw out there, they throw it out there, and then you get the minor challenge with Adam Warlock, where it's so much time has passed. It's like the weight and the excitement of that end credit has kind of died off, and
you forgot about it.
I was waiting for us to see him, but there are some fans that are like, "Who is? Oh, that's where he pops up." So I feel like end credits, they need to go back to what they were doing originally. Drop an end credit for what's coming next, and continue that story.
Yes, for what is coming next, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Or at least coming in the very near future. Because like you have series you can inform. You have movies you can inform. You've got so much coming down the pipeline. Well, maybe. We don't know necessarily what is going to happen with Marvel and Star Wars content, with Iger's comments about them lately, and the way that he sees the company going, and with the writer's strike and, you know, all of that going on right now. So we don't know exactly what we're going to see in the next coming years, but we know that there were plans. So there's lots that can be informed if those things are going to be resolved. So want to keep digging through episode 4?
Absolutely. So episode 4 was probably my favorite one. Between 4 and 5, I liked 4 more than 5.
I loved the poetic aspect of this episode, where they Vara and Fury were talking about the poem Beloved, and they go over it, like the beginning of it. They're talking about, you know, their meeting and talking about it. And then when it comes time to Vara to have her assignment, because at the end of episode 3, we heard her get a call, and there was a gun that she had to go get out of a safe deposit box at the bank. And we heard no other than Rhodey on the other end of the line. And that's how we know Rhodey's working with Gravik. We see her show up at this church. Fury's got her bugged, so he's listening to the whole thing. And Rhodey's bragging about how he's the one who canned him, and telling us, you know, it's his turn to go down, and Gravik wants him dead. So it's either she's going to die or he's going to die, and he doesn't care which one. And
we start seeing Rhodey. If I'm not mistaken, up until then, we haven't seen it yet. But verbally, we are realizing that he's obviously a Skrull at that point. One thing that it disappoints me, because I really like this new kind of...
I think the only like hint we had towards it before, we always had a suspicion that it might be Rhodey, like playing around, but was when he called him Nick when they were met for a drink. That was like the only inkling that we had. But this is like solid. No, he is 110% a Skrull who has infiltrated the U.S. government.
And I put it on our messenger, and that was something that bugged me, because when we were discussing that, the last few episodes, we were waiting for that to come back. But obviously in these 2 episodes, Fury realizes that Rhodey is a Skrull. So we spotted that, but it's weird that Fury didn't spot that, because now in these last 2 episodes, you realize that he didn't find that out from him calling him Nick. He found that out from what he's heard now. So for me, it really devalues that scene.
But do we know that he didn't have an inkling, that he wasn't like thinking about it?
I think he had an inkling. I will give you that. But when we saw him, I forgot who it was that he was talking to, and they called him Nick. I'm blanking it right now.
Talos, when they went for the commander.
Yes. And how just right there, straightforward Fury was about nobody calls me Nick. I feel like, and how
I also thought that was him not playing his cards towards Rhodey as well.
I don't know, and it's hard because we'll get to episode 5, but that scene where he comes at Rhodey at gunpoint in the hospital scene, it doesn't seem, and that's the issue of these last episodes. I feel like now when Fury finds out who's a Skrull, he's ready to take them out. But the first half of the season, like we were sharing, it was always about that chess move. Like, all right, I will see you move that, and I will be ready. But now it's like the second half of the season, he's running on emotions now, which is very interesting. It's a very interesting character turn for me.
It is, especially because now he is being framed for Maria Hill's death, and Rhodey's the one who's framing him.
Yep.
So we will talk about that when we get to episode 5. But episode 4, so Vara, she's not going to kill him. Like, I think we all knew that she wasn't going to kill him. Like
that scene where I think he said, should we get a divorce?
I don't know if we should renew our vows because they both just shot past each other. Like,
yes, that line was so tight.
It was, and just kisses her and then goes about his way. And she knows that they're going to be coming for her. She's not afraid to like stand up, and she's not going to sit down and just be like, okay, Gravik, whatever. She did what she did for her man. But I will tell you that question that she asked him, if he would have fallen in love with her, had she remained in her, had she not changed, had she stayed in her own skin? And he goes, well, I guess we'll never know. I don't know why that question broke my heart. Like, because
it was definitely, for me, when he said that, it confused me for a little bit. Like, man, but at the same time, it just shows that Shakespearean talk that he has with his wife and his wife back. And you hear that with another line in episode 5 where he says, I got what my mom put between my ears and a sweet lady or something like that put on my finger. So I love the Shakespearean talk that he does.
It was almost like he was saying he couldn't love her if she hadn't have taken on the form that she did. Like almost solidifying that humans and Skrulls can't coexist.
See, I took it as like, we're never going to know. We're never going to find out because one of us is not going to make it through this.
I took it as we're never going to find out because you changed. We'll see. But I do think that Fury, obviously we know Fury is going to continue. We do not know if what film is it?
Marvels?
If the Marvels we do not know for sure if it is post this or pre this. We have not been given any clarification yet on that, have we?
I don't think so, but if I'm going to take an educated guess from my uneducated self, I'm going to say it's post this.
Okay.
Because the fact that I think the outcome of this, I take that back. I think it's pre. And the reason I say that is because he's up in, is it Sword or no, Saber?
Saber.
And I think he comes down after that.
I agree. I think that the Marvels is pre this.
Yeah.
And especially this may be, I am wondering if this is the end of Nick Fury. Because, the man is wheezing sitting on a park bench.
If this is the end of Fury, next Wednesday or the season finale, whenever you're listening to this, it better be a home run show. Because right now, and David shared this at the beginning of the season, like with Maria Hill, the way and I got some theories on her. I'm about 51% on your guys' side that she's coming back, but I'm still hesitant. But if Fury goes out the way the season's going thus far, I would really be upset if this is the show that, because then this show didn't show him. It didn't show true Fury.
And it didn't do him justice at all, because what we've seen is Talos saying, we built you. Mm-hmm. The Skrulls built you. So I don't know what they're going to do with it. I can speculate. But honestly, I'm ready for someone else to take charge from Nick Fury, personally.
And you see that in episode 5. I'm not going to jump in there, but that, I know she's a Russian, but oh, buddy, I forget her name, the red lady. Yeah,
she's fantastic.
I see Fury going out, though, in Brave New World.
Okay. You see a lot come into fruition in Brave New World. That's going to be like the big one.
Because they have a lot of potential there. They really do.
Yeah, especially because it's informing like the new Avengers as well. So, so we see that Vera does not do what Rhodey tells her she has to do per Gravik's request. Next thing we know, we see Skrull Rhodey getting out of the shower, drying off, and then we see Rhodey walk out to their living room or in their hotel room, wherever they are, hotel room, and in Russia, and they see Nick Fury sitting there at the table with a bottle of liquor that is calling their name, and Nick Fury literally tells him he's feeding him a tracker, a liquid tracker, and he just doesn't. He just drinks it anyways.
Which I thought was cool because it's almost like that. Okay, you're telling me not to do this, so I do this, so I don't do this, and it's almost a reverse psychology. But I do have a question I'm gonna throw out to you. They have yet to announce either where OG Rhodey is or how long this Rhodey has been involved. There are some theories out there, but I mean, in this show, we have yet to hear where the original Rhodey is, or, as painful as it would be for them to do, or is Rhodey a Skrull since day one?
I don't know that Rhodey could be. Well, we said Rhodey couldn't be a Skrull since day one because he's been shot.
We did say that, yeah. But I mean, if the MCU is like, oh no, it's like it would ruin a lot of things. But I'm assuming we'll get episode 6, or again, and I'm putting a lot of faith in Brave New World, or Rhodey rolls over there.
I would like to see a conclusion to Rhodey in episode 6.
Yep.
Not like a conclusion to the character, but a conclusion to how the Skrull thing happened, and a conclusion to that Rhodey.
Yep.
I would like to see our original Rhodey be found and returned to power. So he takes the liquid tracker. Then we see Talos and Nick Fury following them because the president is now landed in Moscow. He's going to brief with the Russian government. And I love how the government's like, did you feel like you needed to drink half, or the president's like, did you feel like you had to drink half a bottle of bourbon to like pregame for this meeting with the Russians? That was probably my favorite line in the movie. And then we see that there is going to be an attack by Gravik and his men, posing as the Russians to make it look like the Russians. And they try to take the president out. And so we have Russian and American and Skrulls all in this big battle. The president's SUV is flipped upside down. We have Fury trying to get him, like, cover Talos while Talos is busting the window out. Talos gets shot, so everybody can start to tell that he is a Skrull. And, the one, I don't even know, the Secret Service person. We know the Secret Service person is like, hold on, that alien's trying to get the president. Not the case. The alien was not trying to get the president. The alien was trying to save the president. And we see the president get rescued, taken to Fury's car. Fury gets out to the car, turns around to grab Talos, who is bleeding out. And we see Gravik turn into that Secret Service agent and shoot Talos dead right there.
I was surprised to see Talos go out like that. I really was. It was. I feel like a lot of the big key deaths in this show have been really. Oh, that's where you place it. Like, it wasn't. I don't want to say very heroic, but it almost seemed very, again, rushed, and I was
nonchalant, just casual.
Yeah, like, I really thought, like, him dying, the president would have saw him and stuff like that. I tried to, like, oh, I saw something. But the fact that it was very nonchalant, but also, too, that scene, visually it was cool. But I thought it was very odd that Fury and Talos were able to get so close before anybody spotted this SUV coming out of the side. And I was like, but it was.
I will say this is one of the best like battle fight scenes we've seen in a while.
Oh, agreed. Especially in the TV series.
Yeah.
It was really
It
rad.
had movie theater vibes. Like it had actual cinematic vibes.
Yep. But I was surprised, but I was also very stoked to finally get the scene where Gravik, which throws out the Groot stuff. Because I forgot about that in the trailers, and when he did that, I was like, shut up. Let's go. And I was really excited for that, but Talos' death, it didn't hit as a death. I was like, he'll be back, especially since seeing Gaia. And then there was a scene where you do see Talos, and I'm like, oh, he's going to when Gaia brought him for the burial. And I was like, oh, but then I realized, no, he's gone.
He is gone. Talos is gone. Nick Fury told Gaia to take Talos's body to Vera so that they could do a proper Skrull burial. And we also got the story about how Vera picked her person.
That's
and
right.
Assumed her identity, and she asked for the identity, and so knowing that the woman whose persona she took, she had 3 rules. She wanted to be buried at sea. Mm-hmm. She wanted her to remain a daughter to her parents, which she did, and she wanted her to never hurt Nick Fury.
Yep.
So I thought that was beautiful sentiment. But also the burial at sea reminded me of the burial. Like, so she did the rites for Talos as well. And Gaia goes, I don't know the prayer. And so she ends up doing it for her. In the meantime, we see Nick Fury literally like getting the president to the hospital, and they'll be like, do you have clearance? No, you don't have clearance. But he's like whispering to the president, don't trust Rhodey. Don't trust Rhodey. Keep Rhodey away from you. Don't trust Rhodey. Keep Rhodey away from you. Do we know if the president heard it? I'm hoping. Because the president seems a little sussed out about Rhodey at the moment, because
he does.
Rhodey, where the hell were you? Like, well, Nick Fury shows up out of the middle of nowhere to save my ass. Like, where were you? And then also at the same time, we get to see Gravik being a complete piece of crap to his entire Skrull army.
Which we called that with, I forget his name, Pagan. We called that where he's not going to go good, but he's for the mission. He's for the entire journey through and through. And he calls out Gravik like, hey, what are you doing? Because everywhere you're sending us is not where stuff's at. And he calls out Gravik, and Gravik throws a temper tantrum and just straight murders him. Yep. And
then who had the cojones to go out and like Beto? Beto was like, I'm not scared. Beto was like, tried to take him out, and that's when they all realized, we're fighting with something bigger here than we can. And Gravik basically said, I don't care about any of you. I don't care about a single one of you. This is about me. This is about me getting my redemption from Nick Fury.
Yep. And you learn that too, especially when he tells Rhodes, like, hey, we need to rework this story. You need to plant this as it's Russia. And here's the map of where it's at, and it's their compound.
He says, tell him it's Skrulls.
Yeah, and he says, hey, those of you that are want to leave. Those of you that don't. And he's going to basically baby Thanos that place here in a minute. Half of you are going to survive, half of you are not. And it shows him coming unhinged. Like, his plan, I think his plan was to become what he is now. So now, every other plan that he has, he doesn't have a plan. He got what he wants, and now he's just going to go.
Now all he wants is to become more powerful. Mm-hmm. He wants the harvest so that he can take on all of the Avengers' skill sets, basically. And then he wants to be the Super Skrull. He wants to be the big bad. He wants to cause destruction everywhere he goes. It's going to be bit messy if he gets his hands on that. So we do see the harvest in episode 5, but before we move on to episode 5, episode 4, we do see that standoff between Rhodey and Fury in the hospital. and him telling him, you'll never get that close to the president again. We see Rhodey going ahead and telling, the president, no, like it's scrolls. Here's the compound. We already have the SSI or SIS lady on board who's totally with Fury, like trying to deal with all this ish, not on Fury's side, not on
Rhodes
American side, Rhodey's side at all, or with the Americans. She is just a badass. I absolutely love her character. And we see the president starting to question him. So we also saw a conversation before Talos died between him and Gaia, where she called him delusional because he wanted humans and Skrulls to dwell together in their own skin. And he's saying, if we keep showing them our heart, will they let us? And she, is still very informed by Gravik of that can't happen. You're delusional. After seeing that Gravik killed her father, do you think she has a change of heart and that she's still going to think that her father's dream is delusional? Or do we see her live out his mission?
That's a good question. I think she's a bit of both. I think if we did not get the conversation with her and Vara about her asking Vara, like, does he love you in what you look like? I feel like there is still that very much Gravik, but at the same time, too, she did to that line with Fury when he left, I'll make sure I put on a good face. So I don't think we've seen the climax of Gaia yet. I think when Gaia died and then came back, it was almost like being reborn, and there's a new Gaia that we're redeveloping now. So I'm going to go on the fence and saying she's more like the gentleman. I'm horrible at the Skrulls' names. The gentleman that Gravik killed the first hand, the right-hand guy.
Pagan.
I think she's going to go down a path like Pagan, but be more patriarch like her dad, but in the same society that Pagan was, and not like Gravik.
Yeah. So right now, Gravik is the only people who are listening to Gravik are the people who are terrified of him. He has nobody that actually believes in him or trusts him right now.
Nope.
He is completely destroyed that. There is rest, there's just distrust in his ranks. Like, he's got no team. He is his own team, and that's all he needs at this point.
Yep.
But we got a lot of information in episode 5, a lot of I guess intimate details. So the harvest.
Yep.
We finally know that, Nick Fury does have the harvest. All of the Avengers at some point have spilled some blood. He has a collection of it, or their DNA. And that's why Gravik has kept Fury alive. He said it so many times, I could have killed Fury right then and there. And other people have told him, you had him right there. Why didn't you kill him? Because it's not really about getting a new home. It's not really about avenging New Skrullos. It is about becoming this ridiculous super Skrull with Avenger DNA. It is a selfish mission. It's not for the Skrulls at all.
Nope. I feel like it probably was at one point because Fury shared that Gravik ran point on collecting all that stuff. So I think it was at one point, but then seen almost like a bad addiction, like, oh, I want that. I want to be more.
It's like he's fiending for it. Yeah.
Yep.
So Fury does say that Gravik, Fury had Skrulls who were doing a lot of the background work for him. And Gravik was one of them. Gravik was the one doing the harvest. He was the one collecting those DNA samples, and he had to move the location because he didn't trust Gravik. And so that's a conversation that we hear him have with the SIS. That's what it is, right? The SIS woman. What else do we miss in episode 5? I think we mixed up a lot of episode 4 and 5, some of the pieces, but
and if I'm not mistaken, episode 5, I want to say was the shortest one of the season. Like, it was
It was
I
short.
was really surprised on how quick it went. One thing that really caught me off guard, though, was I really liked where the harvest was. I liked the headstone, the way that they did that. That was cool. The part that for me that was a little over the top was the 5 tombstones that carried one item in each one, an eye patch, a gun. I was like, okay, that's a little over the top. But I think that scene right there, though, has not clearly, 95% locked in that Fury has been Fury this entire time. Yeah. And I think that finally puts to rest is there a second Fury?
Yep.
Because I feel like if there was a second Fury, things would be a lot easier for Gravik, Rhodey, all that stuff. So yep. I feel like we've finalized that. That theory is gone.
So we did get to see. So we saw that Gravik sent men to Vara's because he wants her killed because she didn't obey orders. And we know that Gaia is there. So Gaia, and that was actually a really fun scene too, when Gaia and Vara are battling the scrolls that come to take out Vara. But did you notice that they were in a laboratory when that happened?
Yep, I did.
Did you notice what was framed on the wall?
I did not.
There's a book title that was framed on the wall, Decoding the Superhuman Gene, written by Vara. Vara has been doing research to bring us closer to mutants and the X-Men.
That's pretty rad.
That is my perception on it. But that's what the thing on the wall said, is that it was decoding the superhuman gene.
Yeah, so. See, that entire scene, I couldn't unsee the scene of like Star-Lord and Groot back-to-back shooting a rocket and Groot. So they're just sitting there underneath each other's arms. That's what I kept picturing. That scene, I think that scene by itself was better than the President's shootout scene in the episode 4. That laboratory scene was tight.
It was. We also got to see the Widow's Veil, which Nick Fury uses to change identities to get through the airport.
We also see old boy from Black Widow in the airplane. The gentleman that's in the airplane with the new identity, he's the one that gets Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson's character, new identity. Yeah. But also too, which is weird because was it Secret Invasions? There was a reference to the Red Room. I want to say it was Secret Invasion we talked about. I could be wrong. Yeah. But yeah, so there's a lot of little nods to Black Widow in this, which I was really surprised of.
So this is the first. Fallsworth is the one who calls it the Widow's Veil. We've seen it called the like nano mask and other things. So we've seen it used in Winter Soldier, Black Widow, and then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They also used it. So it is a S.H.I.E.L.D. technology that they have had to mask their identity. And it's funny because Nick Fury says like, oh, this is the old one. Like it doesn't change the rest of you. It just changes your face. This is the old version.
So I have a theory on Maria Hill now. So I didn't catch it after episode 2, and I didn't catch it after episode 3. I'll have to go back and watch. But at the end of episode 4 and the end of episode 5, it says with special guest Colby Smulders. And I was like, wait, what? And that's why I asked. I was like, did we see her in this? Because I know they said at the end of the first episode, which makes sense, but they don't mention Martin Short's name in 4 and 5. And if it was just a copy and paste, he was in there. So I wonder if Marvel's really going that in depth on the Secret Invasions. And with Fury saying this is the old one, you haven't seen the new one yet, if Maria Hill's going to pop up with a new one. They only have one. They only have one more episode left, so she's gonna pop up. She's gonna do it then. I'm still on the terms that she is gone, but at the same time too, nobody's dead until they're dead. So, but no, even with that, Rhodey says like video of you killing. I don't know. I'm skeptical, but the end credits when it says with special guest Colby Smulders, I'm like, wait a minute, was she in here, or is that just Marvel? If they are putting Easter eggs in the wording of the credits,
it would not be the first time they've done it.
That would be sick, though. I'd be like, that's that right there.
And how proud would you be of yourself for catching that?
Oh, dude, I'd be like, I knew that all the time.
You'd be like, totally called that. Totally called that.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Also, just before we continue, let's take a second and plug our Patreon. If you are listening to this audio version, but you would rather watch the video of Lou and I recording right now, you can head on over to our Patreon. Our Patreon subscribers get access to all of our videos live, not just recorded. Well, not live, but videos. Usually before they even get released on our streaming site for our podcast hosting. You can also get access to our Discord. You get merch, lots of fun things. You get entered into monthly drawings. So go and head over to our Walt's Apartment Patreon and find us over there. Make sure you tune into all of our other shows. Walt's Apartment Live, Undisputed, Extra Magic Hour, Marvel Tribe, Knights of the Rogue Republic. Just giving shout outs to everything. We've got our 4th season coming up soon. So lots of big things to be excited for, some new changes, and lots of fun things to keep coming. So we've seen Fury's gravestones. We see that he's working with Fallsworth, trying to get this all under control. We see Nick Fury don his black eye patch.
Yep.
So we see our Fury is coming back. He's like, nope, this means business. It's time to handle business. So what do you think the plan is? Because he's got the harvest and Gravik wants the harvest. And Fallsworth says, so you're just going to hand it to him? And he goes, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
So for me, I have like this Aladdin theory. So, when Aladdin tells Jafar, well, you're not the best. The genie is the best. And then he turns into a genie and then he realizes, damn, so much power crippled me. I have this theory that Fury is going to do that to him and unlock a way to take him out. Like Superman with kryptonite. Like, all right, I'm going to give you this. And if you take this, you're going to have this Achilles heel, and this is how we're going to take you out. That's my theory. Because other than that, though, it doesn't make any sense why Fury would just hand that over. But then again, I have a 2% chance that Fury is actually going to call upon some friends, because now we've heard it almost every episode. So, Fury, why have you not really called your other friends?
And I don't think we're going to be getting he can't call on. Who's he going to call on? He can't call on Scarlet. He can't call on Wanda. He can't on Scarlet Witch.
Nope, he can't call on Scarlet. I mean,
can't call on Iron Man.
Nope.
I don't think Thor's coming.
The only ones that would work right now is somebody that's established but not established. So for me,
it's got to be New Avengers. He's got to call on Miss Marvel.
I don't see that.
You don't?
I don't see that.
What if the Marvels was pre this and we get all 3 of them, and those are the friends he calls on? But I just had a thought about something too. So let's get through that. But then I had just another.
All right. So story-wise, I feel like it might work though, because he's mentioned Carol Danvers like a lot this season.
Danvers, he has, yeah.
And so
because he even mentioned, I even have her blood because it was spilled.
I mean, it would work out, and not trying to sound disrespectful at all. The Marvels coming into this plays in Disney's report card lately. So that checks out more than I was going to say Sam Wilson.
Well, I just thought of something that informs. So not coming in this next episode, but this totally just informed Armor Wars. Because in Armor Wars, Iron Man's tech is stolen and it's being misused across, like in the comic books, it's being misused across, the world, and he has to go and stop it. Well, right now the real Rhodey is held in captivity somewhere. And he's going to have to come back and basically do that for Iron Man. He's going to have to take all the Stark tech and get that under. So we know that we're going to have to get real Rhodey back at some point because it's going to have to inform my.
I mean, having real Rhodey come back would be tight. I mean,
I think we see real Rhodey. I'm going to say we get real Rhodey. Okay, let's go. Predictions for episode 6.
Predictions for episode 6.
What do you want to see for episode 6?
I want to see some closure on some big loopholes in this season.
Which ones?
Rhodey's one of them. I want to see where's real Rhodey. How long has this been? I want Rhodey's scroll story and real Rhodey story to come full circle. Second, I want to see Nick Fury be Nick Fury. There's been parts in the season where we've seen Nick Fury be Nick Fury, but we've also seen parts of the season where Nick Fury was a broken Nick Fury. Not that he wasn't Nick Fury, he's just broken. But I want to see Nick Fury be, hey, we're playing chess, and I don't think 2 moves ahead. I'm 4 moves ahead, and stuff like that. I want to see that Nick Fury. I really want to see what Gaia is going to do. I want to know where does this go for her. But outside of what we have seen, I would like a solid tie-in to either the Marvels or Brave New World. And I'm going Brave New World more just because I feel like the Marvels is already going to have a lot to work with because you're bringing Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, all of them together. So you're already going to have a long movie. So to really have anything over from this, that might be a lot.
I actually would be excited to see the 3 of them together at the end of this and find out that the Marvels is the precursor. So we get to see them developed as a powerful team.
Yeah.
And they just come in and like kick ass and take names. And then I also would like a full story conclusion on Rhodey. Like, where's our real Rhodey? Because like I said, we need that to inform Armor Wars. I don't know how else they can do that. But I also want to see an end to Gravik's plan because basically he is trying to make the planet, World War III makes the planet radioactive, which humans can't live in. Only Skrulls would be able to survive. So if they end up having this radioactive event, which I hope not, it completely changes what we're about to see in the MCU and makes everything so it's just mutant and Skrulls. And I'm not ready for that. I don't want to see destruction of Earth. So I'm hoping that we see an end to that.
All right.
To Gravik's plan.
I got a counter question for that. So, well, not for that, but overall, what is something that, and I think I've asked this question every Marvel show now. What is something that will happen as a season finale that will just blow your mind if they go that route?
I honestly think for me, it would be seeing all 3 of the Marvels together as a solid team, because that would confirm for me that this was post their movie and seeing them like just, I don't know. Do I want something else though? Honestly, I kind of want to see a Gaia and Gravik standoff too. But then we could also, I don't know. That's a hard question because there's so much that like, that I just like, I almost feel like I'm setting myself up for disappointment.
Oh yeah. I feel like every time I ask this question, I do it to myself too.
I even mean think like the basic things that we would like to see. I don't think they're going to give us because there's 1 episode left and unless it's like an hour and a half long episode, there's no way they're going to clear up all these loose ends that we need cleared up.
Yeah, because I remember when we talked about this with She-Hulk, we were talking about Hulk and his son, and when we found out he was coming, dude, I was ready, and we got him, and I was like, okay, I mean, all right. But for me, I would like to see something new come to this that's just an Easter egg. So, for instance, like, say Gaia all of a sudden has Mr. Fantastic or the Invisible Woman's powers. it's not a Fantastic Four that's in there, but all of a sudden she's learning these powers, and you're like, oh shit, that's the Fantastic Four's powers. How did they get that? Or I mean, maybe
seeing I would like to even see Valentina talking to Gaia.
Ooh, I would like to see that too. But if they do that, they better start dropping more Valentina soon, because at this point now, she keeps popping in, which is tight. But again, it goes back to my end credits reference. At this point, I want to see something from it. And when does Thunderbolts come out? I think it's November of next year. So maybe we see something with Valentina and Gaia, but it dives a little deeper. Having them all in the room.
December 20th of 2024.
Imagine having like Gaia and Valentina go for a drive, and they go into like some random building or something like that, some place, and all of a sudden Valentina pulls the whole Nick Fury. Like, I bet you're curious why you guys are all gathered here. And it just pans around the room with Gaia, like, and showing all the recruits.
Yelena, the Winter Soldier, Ghost, U.S. Agent, Red Guardian, all of them. Taskmaster.
I mean, Ghost is the only one that I'm skeptical on, because I don't recall us seeing Ghost and Valentina
I think he's been confirmed as a character, though, for the Thunderbolts.
No, I know that. That's if we do see Ghost, though, I want to find out, okay, when did you and Ghost, because I mean, Ghost, if I'm not mistaken, was Quantum Realm stuff. So when did you and Ghost cross paths?
Yeah. I don't know. There's some
but I mean,
pieces we're missing there. So
Valentina's like the early Avengers Thanos stuff when
she's collecting everyone.
Yep.
All right. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just super excited for episode 6. I am nervous because I don't want to be disappointed. Where would you rate the series overall so far? If you had to give it a 1 through 10.
Overall series so far, I'd probably go overall, episode 1 through 5, I'd go 8.5.
I actually would give a 7.5, 8.
Yeah,
I mean, it's I know a lot of people really do not like this, but I think it's because it feels so rushed and they're not fleshing things out as much as they could. It's rushing, and we keep talking about that with these 6 series shows. It's just not working out, and it's frustrating for fans. But I mean, it's not enough that we've stopped watching. We keep watching. So
I think these 6-episode shows are just, I truly believe that a lot of these shows, with the exception of WandaVision, were never meant to be shows. They were just movies. And then when they're like, oh, we're going to turn this into a show. All right, well, some of the, what we would call director's cut stuff is still in there because they need that. This show for me, though, does what I was hoping She-Hulk was going to do for me. Yeah. Oh, it's something different. It's something unique. And
it's driving a storyline instead of just being some other weird off spin. Like the Werewolves at Midnight, like great. But it did not need to inform the MCU.
Yeah.
She-Hulk could have been similar, but it wasn't presented to us that way.
Yeah, and She-Hulk's season finale really just burned me. I was like, I enjoy breaking the fourth wall, and I get that she was one of the first to do that, but I think the Disney Plus thing was way too breaking the fourth wall. And I was like, okay, this one is new, and this one would be higher up there. Like for me, Moon Knight is absolutely my favorite one because it was something completely new that never drew back to the MCU. This one is still going back to the MCU, but almost in a way, and I know we don't talk about it, but in a way, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of way. But of course, this one makes a lot more sense.
I mean, I loved Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so you can talk about it all you want. Because
I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the first 2.5 seasons. When the main villain that was their homie turned villain was just never dying, I was like, all right. Hyde, yeah. I was like, all right, I'm out for like this.
Oh, I love Brett Dalton as Ward. Loved him.
Dude, he was a solid character. But when they were like, oh, he's the one, it's like, oh, how? What
He was
happened?
Hive. He was Hive. Yeah, Hive.
Yeah, the whole planet. That just
the whole
took me-
Terrigenesis thing.
Yeah, but I
That was a
mean,
mess.
the one girl, the scientist chick, that was like Wanda to Sean for the longest time for me.
Oh, Fitz and Simmons.
Yes. But this show for me kind of is like that, where it's so different. It's working. Now, if I was going to go episode by episode, this last episode, I think in our chat I gave it a 5. I would be gracious and go a 6, but there was a lot of information there, but there was also a lot of just like dancing around stuff we already
so
knew.
like even our breakdown tonight, we spent a good 15-20 minutes talking about episode 5, and then the rest of it we spent like double that time on episode 4, because there was a lot more action and there was a lot more agency in the characters, so there was a lot more motivation for the characters.
I really hope episode 6 though is close to, if not more than an hour.
I hope it's over an hour, because I need a lot of loose ends tied up. And if I really don't want a second season, I really don't. I want this to be the end of this. And I want it to inform the movies, maybe even inform a different series, like Armor Wars type thing. But like, I do not want a whole nother Secret Invasion round 2. I want there to be an end to Graphics Plan. So that is what I'm hoping for.
Unless they come in guns blazing hot in the beginning of the episode, they can pull out a 40-minute one. But if it's anything like all Marvel shows are, where the first 10 minutes is just kind of the rebuild up, then please be a little longer, but just make sure you close out a lot of these loops that you left open.
Yep. And we'll be back next week to cover those things. Do you have anything else you want to say about Secret Invasion?
Nope. The only thing I would say is enjoy the show. Make sure you're watching the shows. If you want to see more shows on Disney Plus, make sure you're going in and watching them and really getting that your opinions and your feedback out there, so more shows like this and others continue to come.
Yeah, we will take just a quick second to say you may have noticed that our very own Blurred Hulk is not here with us tonight. David is currently putting some energy into some other things that he has going on in life right now, some other things that he wants to really focus on. He will be joining us again. We are excited for him to join us, but in the meantime, it's going to be Lou and I holding down the fort until Blurred Hulk is ready to come back and join us, and we'll have some special guests on. I think it would be really cool to do some more fan interaction, so we can talk about that. We've got some diehard Marvel fans that listen to the show, so it would be cool to get them on and get their perspective on some things. So we will keep talking about those things, but I think that's all we have for this week. Thanks for joining us on the Marvel Tribe. One team, one love. It's the Marvel Tribe.
Hey.